Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 123 of In a Good Way podcast. I just thought about it. That's episode 123. So that actually sounds pretty cool. So I just wanted to talk real quick about, my experiences during this super moon, blue moon, in the sign of Aquarius. Real quick, I do have a live this Friday. I'm going live with Jane Fecto, was an energy healer. I've had Jane on before. Think we already did two lives and then I did the interview with her. So we'll be going live this Friday. It's going to be a little early PST time. So if you're watching this right now, just know that obviously I already put the flyer in the community tab. So I just wanted to get that out the way. So, I didn't experience a whole lot during this blue moon, uh, super moon. One thing I did experience was a ton of synchronicities, right? They seem to be more prevalent, right? Like in the form of letting me know that I'm on the right path because right now I am going through a bit of changes, right? I'm going through some changes that at this point they're not uncomfortable anymore, but they're very like I shared in a previous episode how the roads were getting closed and this and that and all this different kind of stuff, but at the same time showing me that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. So that's even to the point of almost like the pre-planning thing, right? For those of you that are familiar hearing about that with NDE stories, right? Showing me that not just like a synchronicity, but even to that level of like a pre-planning kind of thing, right? And that kind of goes in with the things I was seeing, right? I think it was the day of the blue moon. I don't know if that's the same way I had gone to a powwow as well, right? So I was able to soak that in, right? I just sat there, I was listening to the drums and the prayers, right? For those, I'm not always that comfortable with just, for those that don't understand like the native songs, right? But to me, obviously, like their prayers, right? So as I was there sitting, listening to the drumming and the prayers or prayer songs, if you will, I was just soaking it in, right? It had been a while, not too long, but it had been a while since I was around that environment. So it felt good, right? It always calls to me. Uh, like on a deep level, right? So of course it wasn't a surprise that that's kind of what hit me. And so this first started happening to me. I know it was over a year ago, right? Where it started happening to me heavily, where I started seeing a lot of ancient like hieroglyphics, seeing them in my head. And even this time, right? I was in the shower, it's always in the shower. And I started seeing these visions, and it's almost like that picture being in a video game and you're like walking almost like that. It would be almost like when someone's wearing those virtual goggles, the way they're able to walk and like look around. So in this vision, it was almost like I'm seeing myself walking towards these hieroglyphs, right? And in this case, they were, they look like Mayan, Aztec, that kind of those kind of how, and I can still, it's funny that I can still see them like in my head as I'm explaining this. And I instantly understood that they were like older, right? And I thought, and I said these exact words in my head, almost like if the new versions of everything we see is simplified, right? Like before they were more complex. Almost like I think how the Egyptian have the cuneiform, right? Or if that was Sumerian, I forgot if it was like, but I mean, even that, I guess to them might have not been that complex, but it wasn't as picturesque, right? They didn't use I don't know if that's the correct word. They didn't use the pictures, right? Like then after with the hieroglyphs, right? Where it was more pictures and stuff like that, or like how you see whatever cave paintings and this and that, right? The ones that I was seeing were very complex, but yet it almost looked like that was the father language to what we later knew as like, the Aztec, Mayan kind of hieroglyphs from here. Not just here, because it almost feels like before that, you know, it was connected. But anyways, that's what I was shown. And like I said, over a year ago, I think it was almost exactly a year ago. I think it was July of last year when I interviewed Maria, who I've done lives with. But that was my first time really getting to know her. We did she did a soul reading for me, then we did the interview, and she mentioned that how she seen that for me. And I had been having visions about that kind of stuff. It was even like even in Los Angeles, right? I was walking through Los Angeles and it was like I was showing these kids and I was showing them all this, like, our ancestors. And it was almost like if it had been buried underground, but now it had risen up. So it was popping up like where everyone can see now. Now there was no hiding it. There was like temples up, and they had started building stuff around them kind of thing. But it was very prevalent. There was like a huge, like the face of the Aztec calendar. And it was like a river, but it didn't even have anything holding. It was like water just flowing like in the middle of the sky kind of thing. So it was very futuristic yet ancient at the same time. So it was crazy whether it was like an alternate kind of, but it feel like I knew we were in Los Angeles because of certain things I seen, right? So I'm always exploring everywhere, so I knew certain landmarks, and I was like mentoring these kids to teach them about the culture and how ancient, well, the knowledge we had, right? Like all how advanced our ancestors really were, right? So it was like that we really were more advanced than I guess even modern times, right? In the way we did things, that kind of stuff. It was something like that, right? So, anyways, it's funny that this is coming up again, and that's why that now I seen this, right? At once, I even saw like how these languages or this written language was even brought from somewhere else, right? Like whether another planet or whatever, right? Um, it was made very clear of that, right? So, anyways, so that was kind of the only thing I saw, right? And like I said, it was like walking through, and I'm in the shower, so of course I didn't want to stop seeing, so I would just have my eyes closed. It's almost like being afraid that once I open my eyes, I'm gonna lose the vision. So I'm just like focused. Okay, don't like just stay. What am I seeing? What am I trying? Am I, I'm supposed to understand this? Like what? I'm like trying to read it, and it looks familiar, right? So I know it speaks to my soul that it's familiar, right? So I know whether it's a past life or something, or simultaneously being in another reality, seeing this. So this is what's going on. And then after, I kind of do try to write the stuff, but it just wasn't coming to me, right? Like to trying to do the automatic writing, but it was like my mind was already somewhere else, right? It was already thinking about other stuff. So that was the thing. So then I got my confirmation. I was hanging out with a friend that, you know, and they speak Chinese, right? And so there was writing, in Chinese, in the Chinese language, and I was like, oh, I know this word, and I know, and they were like, they're like, you don't know this word, and I'm like, yes, I know this word, and then they're like, they don't teach this, and I was like, wow, they taught me. I was like, that's my professor, or whoever, like, they taught me that, and this person's older than me, right? So they're trying to say like, if they didn't even get taught, like even at their when they were learning, that they were already teaching the simplified version. So that's why it was like, oh, I started connecting the dots with the vision, because I instantly knew, oh, I'm seeing something that before the simplified versions of what we see on these temples and this and that and that and all that, right? And so they were like, they were being stubborn. Like, no, you don't know this. And then I'm like, okay, this means this. And they're like, I'm like, does, and they didn't say anything. I'm like, does this mean this? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, hello, okay, see, I told you. And this means this, right? And they're like, yes. I was like, you see? Okay, but you don't have to learn that. You learn the new way. And I was like, what? Like, but just to show, like, I guess it was my confirmation. Just the way, for whatever reason, the professor had taught us that professor had taught us the older way of doing things. But I remember, I think they showed us, or he gave us an option. We could write in simplified, or we could write traditional. And for some reason, I think I was learning to write the traditional Chinese characters, right? And obviously, I, like, use it or lose it. I didn't use it, so I lost like 80% of it, but there's still some things in there that when I looked at it, I mean, it's been over 10 years for sure, maybe longer since I was studying Chinese pretty good. And so it was funny that, right? Like, so that was my confirmation. Like, oh, that's funny that I knew it was something that was older than the simplified. And then here we are having this conversation like the next day, in this reality about the simplified versus the old, right? Like the older way kind of thing. So that was a confirmation. And then, like I said, to me, they don't need to show me a whole lot for me to know at this point, like, oh, okay, I got it. So it's real. I'm not just tripping. Like this really happened. This was my experience. So that was really it, right? And I'm curious if anyone else had a similar experience, but I guess, there's always something pulling me back, right? Because even, with this podcast, I'm always thinking like, oh, I was meant to be more immersed in every culture, right? So to learn that, to get along with people, for us to bridge those gaps, right? For us to unite all these different cultures and, you know, be able to, that to come to that understanding. That's how like the world changes, right? Us understanding each other and not trying to force our ways on each other and this and that, right? So, but for some reason, something always calls back to me with that, right? So because I know it's a lot more ancient than now, right? I've been shown, so I know it's not that I think or I guess I know that they're trying to lead me down that rabbit hole for some reason, right? These memories are coming back, um, something like that. So that's really all I had. I think on that note, I did want to pull something, you know, because it was very cultural in its way. I wanted to pull something again from this deck, and this time I have my reading glasses, so I won't be struggling to read. But yeah, this is the Jade Oracle. So if you don't like the Oracle cards and stuff, let me think real quick before I do this. If there's anything else that came up, like I said, for me, it's just been a lot of synchronicities and that kind of stuff. Oh, okay. Then let me. Okay, wow, wow. It just hit me right now that many, many years ago, right? And this was like the one of the craziest experiences I've had was, I knew someone, and from when I knew them at all, I would have never imagined in 100 years, and I'm sure I've shared this story. I would have never imagined in 100 years that this person was spiritual. And one day they came to me in a vision, and they were speaking to me in this ancient tongue, and I knew what they were saying, like so again, it connected to that past, right? And it had to do with this culture, right? Specifically, like the indigenous culture, but the ancient, not like pre-Mayan, pre-Aztec, like whatever. It was ancient. And I knew that they were telling me, and that's what they were telling me, like the ancient ones are coming. They're on their way. They kept repeating the ancient ones. They're on their way. I don't think they had said they're here yet, because I know at some point or another I started hearing that they're here already, kind of thing. But at that point, it was like they're here. I mean, they're on their way. The ancient ones are coming. They're coming. They're coming. I was like, oh wow. When I woke up from that, it was like I knew it was like it wasn't just like a dream. I knew it was a vision. And then like a couple years later, I was able, like, that person had become all super spiritual and they were tapped in. They had visions and everything. So I was like, what? And I told them, you came to me in a dream and you were telling me all that, and they're native too, right? So I was like, wow, like, that's amazing, right? Like that, that happened, right? So, and they had, yeah, and they were super like tapped in now. And I asked now, like, you weren't like that before, right? And they're like, no, no, not really. And then I guess from I forgot what they said, right? Like about what was the big awakening that they had, or thing that happened, right? A lot of times it's something happens, right? But yeah, yeah. So it was crazy that so I saw why they came in. And then there were other times too that they came into to certain visions that I had. So, and now, yeah, they shared with me a lot of incredible experiences that they've had. But they're not, obviously it's someone I've invited on the program, but they haven't or the show, but they haven't wanted to really be that open about it, right? But this was a amazing experience to be able to confirm that, right? So okay, but yeah, that's what maybe there's a reason, right? Maybe something like things are coming again, right? Maybe things are gonna start showing themselves. That's like a precursor to the ancient ones coming, right? Like everyone's always expecting. I know they call them aliens and all this other stuff, but I think it's a lot deeper than that. So maybe we'll start seeing what, what people used to call the gods and this and that. Like I've had visions, right? I've had visions now of orishas and all these things that people call mythological from all these different cultures have shown themselves to me. And I didn't even know about it. Like I didn't know, I hadn't studied Orishas in this lifetime, so why did I know about them? I hadn't studied Hindu gods or goddesses, so why did they come visit me? And then I look them up, and boom, there they are. Like they exist, right? Or animals that that I had never seen, and then you look them up, and there are stories about them or things, right? So there's all these things that people have called mythological that I believe are going to begin surfacing, right? So on that note, yeah, I'll just stop that. I'll do this quick oracle thing. If you have anything you want to share, by all means, leave it in the comments. And yeah, if you don't want to stick around for this part, it's fine, right? Let me just shuffle real quick. See if the ancestors want to say anything since something seems to be making itself known, right? So, okay. So again, this is from the Jade Oracle, El Oráculo de Jade, or Jade, Oráculo Jade. Oh, that was fast. How do you say Sinteotl? Sinteotl, I believe. Lord of the corn, Señor de maíz, right? So let's see. And right behind it, that's crazy. Sintli, corn, maíz. So the Lord of the corn and then the corn. I believe in the Popol Vuh, it says that we were made from corn, or, the Popol Vuh is like the Mayan Bible, right? It says that the gods made us from corn. So that's funny that the Lord of the corn and corn came out. And I'm talking about like the ancient ones. So maybe the ones that created the humans are about to start resurf or coming back or something. What was it again? Sin. Yeah, I'm gonna use my glasses too. So these words, these letters are super, super small. Let me see. Damn, I don't even know if they still. I hadn't used these glasses like in. Oh yeah, I don't even think they freaking. Yeah, I can't even read with these things anymore. Nah, I look. I see. These were from when? Ooh, like over 10 years ago. Okay, let me stop. Sinteot was widely honored because corn was the principal crop that sustained life for the ancient Mexicans. He represented the corn plant, its green color similar to jade, and was revered along with Chicomecoat, and Chilonen. Also corn deities. Okay, so they're just other guys. That's why hard to pronounce. He was also honored by artisans who worked with precious stones such as jade, crystal, and amber. Okay, so maybe this will resonate with anybody out there that uses crystals a lot. I have crystals, but I never really learned, the properties of each one. So maybe this is resonating with somebody out there. When Sinteot appears, be aware that you have the capacity to create everything that you need for basic sustenance. Reconnect with your inner power of creation. Wow, I like that. Oh, it was straight into the point. That's it. So when this God appears, Sinteot, it means that you have everything, right? Everything, because this is like, oh, that's a beautiful card, right? Like I just seen like that's amazing. I wonder if that on his head looks like a parrot almost, and then the corn. Okay, I'm gonna read this. Sintli, corn, maíz. Corn was the most important foodstuff for ancient Mexicans and continues as the base for many foods: tortillas, tamales, atole, a corn drink, and pozole, just to name a few. Corn was offered to the deities in rituals, and casting corn kettles kernels was one of the first forms of divination, still used today. Oh wow! So instead of throwing bones and stuff, or like whatever tarot cards, they use the corn kernels, right? Still used today. Corn was domesticated thousands of years ago when farmers used selective breeding to produce ears with more kernels. The first domesticated corn, dating from 3500 BCE, was found in Puebla. Oh, wow, that's where my uncle was from or lived. This domestication process left corn entirely dependent on humans for propagation, furthering the relationship between humans and corn as allies. Prayers and huehuetlatoli, ancient words of wisdom, explicitly describe humans as corn, and young warriors were likened to the Lord of Corn, Sinteotl. Over and over again, the notion of being food is a central part of the Aztec conception of what it means to be human. Wow, it's deep because that's what I just said about the Popol Vuh. Corn represents the relationship between humans and the plants that live on the earth. Just as plants are food for humans, eventually humans are food for the earth. Wow. When you draw this card, consider your relationship with the earth, the land, and the place you depend on for life. Are you in balance? Out of balance? Are you grateful for everything that gives its life for you to live? Remember that corn connects you to the divine as well as to your roots and your essence. Man, that was deep. I love it. That was deep. So yeah, it's crazy that they both came out. Sin teot- I know. I gotta practice using that the T out, it makes that sound. The T out, it's right, like a sin teot. Okay. And then let me see, I don't know. I'll put, since I'm on the roll with the native stuff, I'll do the wisdom of the elders. Oh, look, the full moon. I forgot. So, okay, I'll do that one and then I'll end it. So, I really like that one about the corn, right? And especially bringing that realization, just that, right? That we eventually become food for the earth. So, it could be for anyone like I know I hadn't been eating that great, and then I started like putting that in my head again. Like last night, right? I had been getting up in the night and eating snacks, and last night I forced myself like nothing. Don't eat nothing. I got up like 2 or 3 times in the middle of the night to go eat, and I was like, just nope. I'm not gonna eat nothing. I'm not gonna eat nothing, and I didn't, right? Because I was like, I gotta get back on track with eating while eating at the right time and then eating healthier too, right? So I was like, let me stick to my guns with that. So it's funny that so I guess it does resonate with me in that way about being balanced and being grateful for obviously eating too much isn't like too respectful of your body, and then, I don't know, maybe sometimes it's just like that, like I guess the heat too, right? Being too hot and stuff, you'll eat whatever just to like not think about how hot it is. Or I don't know if that's just me or something. Or I did recently, right? Okay. I'm just talking while I'm shuffling this. So what do you call it out? Yeah. So does anything want to come out for the collective? Right. Spirit totem animal, direction. So I like that one. Direction. A turtle, eagle, wolf, and hummingbird. Could be a wolf or a coyote. Kind of looks, in this picture, it kind of looks like a coyote. Let me read it real quick then, and then that's it. And then, you guys could go. Yeah, so I should have done it on the blue moon, but I think this is just what card was it? Number 11. The other ones don't have numbers, so the Oráculo Jade. Spirit totem animal direction. The spirit totem animal card reminds us to reflect and reconnect to the animal spirits that are guiding us through life. Your spirit totem animal is always present and can be called upon to assist you in your journey. They ensure that we, as members of the human nation, proceed through life in a spiritual manner and that we conduct ourselves positively. 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 I think I said it right. If you are unsure what your spirit totem animal is, ask spirit for assistance. You can pray to receive a sign which may appear in the form of a dream, vision, synchronistic event, or some other unique way that the spirit world can guide you to the answer. Pray that you will be imbued with a message that lets you know the answer you seek. Be patient with the process and trust when you receive a sign. Your spirit totem animal walks with you in this life down all the different roads you take. They help guide us in the decisions we make and can assist us to find our way when we stand before crucial crossroads. Sometimes our choices lead to far reaching consequences. And our spirit totem animal can help us make those decisions. Hmm. If you have drawn this card today, it might be the perfect time to call upon your spirit totem animal. If you are unfamiliar with yours, request a sign from spirit so that your animal may be revealed and so that you may develop a relationship with them. This card might herald an opportunity that requires direction. Trust that your spirit totem animal is there with you and allow their presence to guide you. I feel bad because I kind of remembered something that happened to me with the animals that has never happened, and I felt bad about it. It was one of those weird ones because I guess, in the dream, I was looking for somewhere to pee, and well, then obviously I woke up and I really needed a pee. But uh I went through I was in this place, there were people and stuff, but then I went through this gate. It was a small, narrow gate, and then I went to where all these animals were, right? And they were like a huge walrus, a bear, all like tons of animals, right? It was like they were all there. And I was looking for a place to pee, and I don't know if I was trying and I couldn't, thank goodness, because if not, I would have woken up all peed on or something, whatever, right? So that was a good thing that I couldn't pee in the dream. And then, so as I'm walking out, I think one of the bears was getting kind of close, and I don't know why. I was like, hey, like, I don't know if I felt like it was coming at me kind of aggressive, and I had something, I hit it on the head. And I was like, after I just felt so guilty about it. Cause I was like, why didn't I just like talk to it or something? Why did I feel like, hey, you're getting like I had to like, hey, don't come at me like that, right? Like, which I don't know. I just didn't feel right about that, right? Like it was like, what the hell was that about? Because I love the animals and they're always very protective of me and all this stuff, in the visions and but this bear like was kind of like, like I don't know. For some reason I reacted like that. I got no clue why. But it's funny because I'll tell this other story. I know I had been going through some stuff and I was kind of having some, I don't know what. I was up in my head, right? And sure enough, right when I was up in my head, at the moment that I'm thinking something, this bee comes and just like bam hits me on my cheek and like, and then I'm like, oh, okay, fine. Like snap out of it, right? Um, and it was just that, right? The little bee, like I don't know what. I was up in my head and it just comes like smashes into my and it didn't even sting me or nothing. It's just like boom. And then it flies away. And I was like, oh, okay, fine, I get it. But it's always amazing that right at that moment, right? It like checked me to snap out of what like, it just like snowballs, right? And it reminded me, I don't know if I shared this story yet. I remember I was, and then I don't know if I ever did, but I had gone up the mountain one day, right? And as I'm climbing up the mountain, I realized I'm like in the middle of all these bees, right? But I was listening to this new album. So I was immersed, it's very steep. And as I was in that steep part, I'm listening to this album. So I think I was lost to listening to this new album that had came out, and then I'm listening and I'm just in between all these bees. And then before you know it, I'm like, wait a second, like, whoa, these bees aren't stopping. Like there were like thousands of bees. And I'm like in the middle of them. And then I know I'm good. I'm like, okay, the animals love me. Like, there's nothing's gonna happen to me. And I'm walking, but it's just not ending. And I'm like, where the hell are all these bees coming from? And it was almost like, it reminded me of that story of like Jesus on the boat, and then where the guy like starts panicking, then the boat starts sinking, and he's like, hey, like chill, that kind of thing. And then, so for a quick moment, I started like, I was kind of in my head. I was like, wait, what the hell? Like man, should I go back? Should I turn back? Like these bees are never ending. They're just like, what the, how far? I think I was barely like halfway up this really steep part. And I don't know how, I never seen that many. It felt like that Thomas J from, I think that's his name in the My Girl, where he gets like stung and he dies. So I was like, am I about to, go through a Thomas J moment or something? And so I'm going, and then at the moment that I start like panicking, like a bee comes and hits me right on my forehead, boom, and then it goes, and I was like, oh, okay, okay, for like I know I'm good, I know I'm good. I'm almost like starting to like vibrate at the same thing with the bees, right? I'm like doing like the starting to hum or whatever, and then just forget about it, and boom, I was good, right? That nothing else happened. Like I went through all these thousands of bees, and I was like, I don't know what if there was a nest right there or something, but it was just insane. And then yeah, I was good. I was good. Nothing happened, right? But I was like because it is freaky, right? So at that moment where the fear crept in, and then but they helped me, right? Like it smacked me in my head in that way, and so sometimes it does that. It reminded me this whole thing about the spirit totem animal, right? I know it said about like if maybe sometimes you make the wrong road, which kind of I don't know. I hope that's not too I'm going down certain paths that I feel like I'm getting all my synchronicities and stuff, but this is kind of one of those like faith type things, right? Because like when I was talking about like the things that were happening in the physical reality from like, but everything feels very. It's weird because I know everything is peaceful, but it's all about me just staying peaceful, right? It's all so and that's how it is, right? When things are like there's no need to stir the hornet's nest, so to speak, right? Like especially when you get so many like confirmations and synchronicities, and that's what our human minds can do, right? A lot of time that's all it is. It's all us that creates the chaos when there's no chaos there, right? So yeah, so just that. So I'll end it with that. So I don't know, hopefully that resonated with somebody, right? If you feel lost in any way, the animals will always be there to guide you, the spirit animals, spirit totems. Call out to them. Um they're always there, right? And like that, boom, in the blink of an eye, the fact that a bee will come smack me on my head within the exact moment, that's why anyone that doesn't believe in anything, like when you experience it, like I always say, I don't have the luxury to not believe in these things, right? Because like that, like where it's something like that, like what did the bee read my mind? Like, how did the bee know that at the exact moment I'm thinking of something to come smack me, right? And then another time when I'm climbing the mountain, a bee knows to come and smack me. So these kind of things always they're like a daily basis kind of thing for me. So I love that message, and I think that's it. I'm tempted to pull more stuff, but you know, um, I can. Let me see. Okay, if you want to go, just go. But I'm gonna let's see. Let me shuffle through this real quick. I kind of want to end it, but I don't know. Let me see. It's kind of calling to me this thing. I like this one because I don't know. It's this sacred forest since it's on. You know. Oh man, that one just flew out. Oh, I love it. Unicorn purity. I think it came out on another one, right? Yeah, unicorn purity. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So I think that kind of rounds out this message. This feels very pure for some reason, right? Like coming from a good place. And it's very mystical. And I kind of was thinking about that. I seen a unicorn once in a vision, and it let me go up and touch its horn. And I think that was one of the best dreams I had in a long time because of that, right? It was like, did I just freaking see? Did I just have a vision of a unicorn and it let me touch its horn? Like, did that really just happen? Didn't I just say that earlier about having seen animals and stuff and the visions that, even though they say mythology and all this, to me when they come like that, like it's almost like I get all the confirmations that it was a real experience, right? Whether it's in another reality or something. I'll read it real quick. It's short, and then that's it. You peer through the tall oak trees into a sacred meadow. In the center of the meadow, illuminated by a single ray of sunlight, stands a radiant, noble, pure white unicorn. The aura around it shimmers, wavers, and sparkles, as if the unicorn was lit from within by 1,000 dancing stars. This card can appear when you are ready to step into the innocence of a child and see the world with the eyes of wonder. Traditionally, unicorns represent purity, innocence, hope, faith, high ideals, and miracles. When you stop looking at the world through the lens of your past, you'll find how fresh and wondrous the universe truly is. The past doesn't need to define you. Know that life can begin fresh and new. This card can also appear when there is the need for inner purification and renewal. Take time to release what doesn't serve and support you in life and watch the miracles unfold. Unicorns are symbols of miracles, magic, and enchanted living. This legendary creature can call the seemingly impossible into reality. If you have a dream that has eluded you for a while, this card is letting you know that all things are possible. The purity of your heart is emerging, and it's time for sweet innocence to flood your being. Purify your life, step into your innate innocence, and believe in miracles. They are coming. The spirit of the unicorn says, no matter what happened, no matter what happened in your life, step into your innate innocence. You have a pure soul. You are a child of the Creator. Let go of the past and see the world with new eyes, and almost miraculously, wonders will abound. Okay, so that's it for that. It reminded me of another story, but I don't know. Okay, I'll just share it. um, so the other day was funny, right? Because I had done this very purifying ceremony, right? I was doing this for myself. Um and I had begun looking for a very sacred object of mine, right? Very, very sacred. I could never get this object back. This sacred object meant the world to me. Um and I believe, someone threw it away. And I didn't get upset. It was a little more heartbreaking, but then, you know, after I just said, it is what it is. Like, I was in such I was in the middle of like this, ritual for myself, this, you know, ritual healing, purification, all this stuff that I was doing. I was in prayer to summarize this. I was in the middle of being in prayer throughout that whole day, to where when that happened, I couldn't even be mad. So I guess good for the person, right? That throw away this sacred object of mine. Because, at the end, I was just like, well, screw it. Like, if I died tomorrow, like, it was going to stay behind anyways, right? I wasn't going to take it with me anyways. But, like, well, I guess I wasn't meant to have it at this point, right? So it's fine, right? And that was it. I just kind of let it be, right? There was no reason to. I was, I felt good with myself knowing that, like, wow, if that didn't get to me, like, that's a whole nother thing, right? Like I really do have a better understanding of this life, right? And everything, and how the things happen the way they're supposed to, right? So that just reminded me, it talks about that, like, right, cleansing your thing and this and that, or cleansing or purification, this and that. So there, I think I've shared enough for this one. Again, I'm doing the live this Friday. If you're seeing this before then, and if anyone has anything interesting that happened during this blue moon, by all means, share it with me in the comments. And don't forget to like and comment, because it helps. Right? So on that note, hope you all enjoyed, the Lionsgate blue moon, everything. It's been beautiful. I know an eclipse is coming up. I don't know if that's the next moon or something. So I'm sure something will, happen during that time. So thank you all. And that's it. Peace.
Life may move fast, or it may move slow. I met a silly man who said he make it slow. We look up out towards space, or even at the sky. One that dance away, but never look inside. Breathe in, breathe out. Life is a maze, but we'll figure this out. I mean, human beings, I ain't got no doubt.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I want to feel this way forever.